Hi, Dr. Shaw. This is my fiance, Alex. He's helping me. We had to be a little creative with some of the muscle length testing because the only thing we have is our kitchen table, which isn't sturdy, and we tried it and no one fell, but it could happen, so we just don't want to do that. So I'm just going to show you for our biceps and triceps how I would do it if he were laying supine with his arm at the edge of the table, but we're going to do it standing because that's just as creative as I got. Okay, so for biceps, I would start with, he'd be laying supine with his arm off the table, and I would flex his elbow and extend his shoulder, and then I would make sure his arm was pronated. Pronated. And I would extend it back, and I would measure. I would put the fulcrum here, one arm here, lateral to the midline of the humerus and the ulna. Okay, and I would measure the degrees of elbow flexion for that. Okay, so that was biceps. So for triceps, I would extend the elbow, flex the shoulder. Thank you, honey. Squat down a little more. Sorry. And I would make sure that his arm looked like this. I would put the fulcrum right there of the lateral epicondyle and one arm over the midline of the ulna and one over the humerus. And I would measure the degrees of elbow flexion for that. Okay, you can stand up back up. Sorry. Thank you for being so nice. Okay, you can lay down while I talk about the other stuff. Carefully, please, carefully. Okay, so for number 1, 2, 3, and 8, the suboccipitals, the scalenes, I said number 3 was the ILS muscles, iliocostalis, longissimus, and spinalis muscles. And number 8 was pectoralis muscles. Since we don't know how to do the measurement for them yet, I was just going to talk about it. For suboccipitals, I would use a goniometer as if I were measuring cervical flexion, and if the range of motion wasn't within normal limits or was below normal, I would consider it to be too short, and I would work on stretching that. For the scalenes, I would measure it with a goniometer or inclinometer as if I were measuring cervical lateral flexion or rotation range of motion, and if it was below average, I would think it was too short and work on stretching that. And then for the ILS, I would use inclinometers as if I were measuring thoracic flexion, and for the pectoralis, if he was sitting, with the shoulders hunched forward like this, or a little too tight, I would assume that the pecs were tight and needed to be stretched. Okay, so on to the hip flexors. So I need you to just stay there. Sorry. Okay, so I'll do the gastrocnemius testing. So if I were to do this, I would make sure there's no inversion or eversion. I would keep my hand here to make sure his knee was stayed extended. And I would dorsiflex his foot using my palm on the plantar surface of his metatarsals. And I would dorsiflex the foot, and I would hold the goniometer fulcrum with the fulcrum over the lateral malleolus, the one arm over the fibula, using the fibular head as a reference up here, and I would put this arm parallel to the 5th metatarsal over here, and so that would be 90 degrees of dorsiflexion. That would be the length reported for the gastrocnemius. Okay. And I don't know if you can see him, but our dog's licking his face. Okay, so then for the hip flexors, well, I guess you can stay there again still. No, No, actually, I need to scoot down. I'm sorry, baby. Hopefully. Okay. So make sure the majority of your legs a little bit more if you feel safe. Do you feel safe?
That's about a limit.
Okay. So to measure hip flexors, we do the Thomas test, and we would start out like this, and I would help them lay down into supine. We'd flex your knees into your chest, honey. Both your knees. Both your knees. Okay. Make sure your lower back's making contact with the table. Keep this one flexed because I'm not measuring that. You can hold on to it if you want around in your thigh because you don't want to put pressure on your knees. Okay. So you put it here, and his is a little tight back here. His hip flexor are a little tight. So I would.
It's going dark.
I think it's okay. It's still recording. So I would put the fulcrum over the greater trochanter as a reference. I would put one arm lateral over the pelvis and one in line with the lateral femur, trying to support his leg at the same time. And I would record that as about 10 degrees of hip flexion. That would be his hip flexor length. Okay. And then if you could lay on your side, babe, and face the camera, that would be fantastic. Safely. Okay. So for this one, I would keep his bottom leg flexed, his hip and his knee. This knee would be extended. I would place my hand here to stabilize the pelvis and support his leg. And I would flex the hip and knee to 90 degrees here. Help me flex your knee. Okay. And I would abduct it and extend it, and then adduct it to get the IT band to measure that. And I would align the goniometer over his SIS, one over the imaginary line connecting his two ASISs, and one over the femur. And I can't read it, but that's what I would do. I would probably have someone help me. Okay. And then for the last one, if you could lay on your stomach and keep your feet off the edge of the table, that's perfect. I would extend the knees and put his hips into neutral, and try not to flex your hips. You know, like don't make the ankle smaller. Okay. I would flex. Well, I guess I'll flex this knee since it's closer to you. And if I can flex it to 90 degrees without, with his hip still being in neutral, which it is, it hasn't left the table, then I would say this was normal length. But if it wasn't, you know, I would put the goniometer over the lateral condyle of the femur and align one arm with the lateral femur and one with the lateral fibula. And I would measure the degrees. Okay, so that's all the muscle length testing. Now we're going to do stretches. Sonny, you can get up now if you want. Carefully, please. Don't fall. Okay. He's logging us back in because the computer blacked out. You did it wrong. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you some stretches. So I'm going to put this here. Is it right here? It's working. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to stretch your suboccipitals. So, what you're going to do, there's no chair there. Okay, so you're going to sit normally, and you're going to do a chin tuck like this. And then you're going to nod, here, you can watch me first, and then you can do it. Chin tuck, and then you're just going to nod your head down to make it go a little bit further. Use one hand and put a little pressure below this region right here and just help enforce the motion. And you're going to hold it for 30 seconds or as long as you can. Okay? So, yeah, you can do it now. Do a chin tuck first. Don't push it yet. Yeah, nod down a little bit. And then if you feel like you're not feeling a stretch yet, you can push it down. Do you feel a stretch in the back of your neck? Okay. So that would be how you would stretch the suboccipitals. Okay, you can release, honey.
Okay.
That's okay. Okay, for the scalenes, Here, you're gonna stand up. You're gonna stand next to the table. Hopefully you can see. So if you're stretching this side, you hold on to that side of the table. Underneath, just normal. Don't twist your hand like that. Yeah, like that. Okay, so you would bend your head away. Yeah, bend your head away and look that way. And then lean away from the table. Do you feel a stretch? Okay, and you'd hold that for as long as you can. But you'd have to hold on to the table the whole time. I know it's too short for you. Okay. Okay, so that's for that. And then for the ILS muscles, I would not recommend stretching those because they're already, according to the picture, they're already very much elongated and they don't need to be stretched anymore. Okay, so for the hip flexors, how we measured it, I would recommend that be a stretch. Lay on the table with most of your legs off the edge, and you would, I can't demonstrate it because this table's unsafe, but have one leg hanging off and flex the other one in like we did for the muscle length testing, and that would be a stretch. Or you could stand in a fencer's lunge pose, which I don't know if you can see here. Watch out, baby. Okay, so it's, you know, what we do when we go running. Stretch like this. Put all your weight up here, so all your stretch is getting into the hip flexor. Then you'd switch. You'd hold it as long as possible. Make sure your front knee doesn't cross over your toe. You can try it. Please. Keep your back leg straight. Yeah. Okay. Try not to arch your back like that. Keep your back leg straight. Okay. Do you feel a stretch in your hip flexor? Okay. You get up. Thank you. Okay. Then for the quadriceps, you can stand, flex your knee, extend your hip, and hold it behind you. Try not to tilt your trunk at all, okay? And hold it for as long as you can. Try not to side bend or tilt. Okay, just like that. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so for the gastrocnemius, stand facing the wall. This isn't the best. You're gonna stand like this. One leg in front, you're gonna stand in stride, the leg you're being stretched back here. If you keep your knees completely straight like this, and that will be the gastrocnemius. If you want to stretch the soleus, flex your knee a little bit, and you'll feel a stretch a little bit differently in your calf, but that way it stretches out both, so you can straighten it or bend it a little bit. Just different muscles. You don't have to bend your knee that much. You need to keep your foot flat on the floor though.
Okay.
And you can bend your front knee, honey, and keep your legs straight back here. Okay, so that would be stretching your gastrocnemius. Now if you flex a little bit, perfect. Do you feel a little bit different stretch? Okay, that's your soleus. Okay? All right, next is the IT band. So you're going to stand with your side that you want to be stretched. So if we want to stretch over here, this is your IT band, by the way, iliotibial band. You're going to stand with this side facing the wall. You're going to, I think, cross this one behind it. Yeah, and cross it behind your other one. And you're going to lean your hips over here like this, side bend a little away, and you can feel it over here. Okay.
That a little bit.
Perfect, yeah. So just tilt your hip in and side bend the other way. Do you feel that? Right here?
No. Not bending enough. Farther away.
Here. Put your hand on the, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah, I think you just had your hand in the wrong place. Okay, so you want to do it like that and hold it for as long as you can. Yeah, and you can switch and do it the other side.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Next, The pectoralis major. So I don't really have a corner that's free, but what you would do is you'd stand with your hands like this in a V in a corner, because you know it'd be better. Maybe we could use that corner. Do you think?
Maybe.
I think we have a corner we can use. Okay, here. I'll show you. Let me show you first. Okay, so you stand like this. I've always done it like this. Stretch it out and just lean in. You can bend your knees if you want. You can bend your knees if you want. You can do it like this, but you know, farther out. I'm just not enough ball. Like that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But then put your arms up as if you had more wall space. Yeah, you have spread your arms out more.
Well, I can't really.
Yeah, like that. It would be like that.
Yeah.
Pretend there's a wall here. Okay. All right. And then we get to the biceps. So you're going to stand at the side of the table again, and you're going to grasp the edge of the table and walk forward. So it's going to be like this. So you're going to walk forward, and you're going to feel it pull. Just keep your hand like that. You don't need to change it or anything. Just keep it like that. And that'll stretch out your biceps. And hold it for as long as you can, preferably 30 seconds. Okay, so then for your triceps, you can sit or stand, whatever is more comfortable for you. Sitting is more comfortable for you, okay. So, first, you're gonna flex your shoulder, flex your elbow, and you can hold it with your other hand over your head, like this, and hold the stretch for as long as you can, 30 seconds if possible. And then you would switch sides, flex your shoulder, flex your elbow, and push, hold back. Okay, so all those stretches I would recommend doing 30 seconds twice, 2 times each for initially. I would recommend at least once a day for the beginning of it, maybe increase to 2 times a day if possible. Okay, I know that was a little scattered. We were trying to be as creative as possible. We had like no space to do this. We just moved, so. Okay, well, hope it was okay. See you in class.